lot of my job was to help Scott find the pieces of the Rack 3 that we wanted to use as thematic material, and the sections that we wanted to have both form the narrative of showing the journey of the pianist struggling, and also telling the story emotionally about his journey as well. So, you know, killing two birds with one stone. And so all the sections we chose then became thematic chunks, and they became part of the score, and they were adapted. And there was even one thing, that little chunk there was actually used not only as a piano piece, but I actually arranged that for strings as part of the underscore in one scene, when Dad goes back to visit the grown-up David, and their relationship is, you know, in a way he's offering his olive branch way too late of, yes, I am proud of you, and you know, it's quite poignant. So I thought rather than using a piano, the actual piano as the underscore there, I would just have it strings almost being the invisibility of a very simple string pad with a melody, playing those notes as underscore. And then at the end, when the father leaves, then you break into the piano, which sort of you realise was you've had an echo of that theme there. There's a lot of beauty melodically in the Rack 3, which allowed, and Geoffrey Rush actually made the comment too, that there's a lot of that vernacular in the Rack 3, which was actually timeless and actually good film music, because it's not too, shall we say, concerty or overwrought or over-dramatic, which some of the music of the early 20th, late 19th century might have been a little overly romantic and perhaps cloying sometimes in an underscoring context. But the Rack 3 was a rich tapestry of beautiful melodic gems. And David Hirschfelder himself said to me after we'd selected all the sections, because you can't have the whole 45-minute piece in the film, so we only had I think about 4 or 5 minutes of a suite. And he said to me, "Oh, you've picked all of my favourite bits," which was nice. The Rack 3, it was a Rosetta Stone in David's life. It sort of, it was as an undoing and also salvation. In a way, he had his breakdown at the end of playing the Rack 3. He climbed the mountain mentally. He then suffered exhaustion physically and mentally from lack of sleep and all this pressure. And also, I suppose, a lot of his challenges of, did I do the right thing, leaving my family? My father wasn't happy with me leaving to go and study in London, and all these things came out in the Rack 3. So I think it's sort of, and yet it was the piece his father always wanted him to play. And so I think it's such an important part of David's life and part of the story of David and for the film, that it was really the central theme of the film. You're going to think this is very strange, but when they shot the Rack 3, shot in London, they had a live orchestra there. Well, they were all, I believe, the students from the Royal College of Music. They were all very keen to participate in the process. They're all real musicians, so they can actually play their parts. You can't have mics everywhere at a shoot like that, you know, and especially something that's about a period of time that's the early 70s. So to make it authentic, I suggested, why don't they just mime to playback? And they'll all know how to play it. They'll have the music there and it'll look exactly right. They'll mime to our playback. We'll put a click track. So I pre-recorded the Rack 3, or the sections we were going to use after we'd selected them. I recorded them using computers and synthesizers, mocked up the entire orchestra, And so the orchestra for the shoot were miming to an electronic score, which then we re-recorded with actual players in a studio, replaced all the electronic instrumentation with live players here in Melbourne. So it was quite a process. And of course the idea is so it all looks and sounds completely plausible, which thankfully it did. It's just hilarious that the whole film making, as you know, is an illusion, and the idea is to. It's like music was the big special effect in this film, and so we're using computers and we're using all sorts of technology to create a plausible, what sounds like and looks like acoustic music being performed, classical music being performed, but we were using all technology and. As a tool to get the accuracy. That's what attracted me to Shine, because it had a personal resonance for me, because a piano is a place where it's performing and composition rolled into one. All the notes are there laid out on a table, literally. You have a nice big table which you can lean over and scribble on. It is the composer's, it's the original music workstation. Now we have computers and fancy things which do the same thing. But this is what I like about these machines, and they're amazing machines, really. I mean, they're hundreds of years old in the design, and yet it's such a classic. They are a classic tool of trade for a composer. So that's another reason why Shine was an important film to me, because it's a film about piano and about a piano player, and his name's David, so it was a bit weird.
Well, kind of. I identified with cats, but I kind of did that. I wonder why that was. They miss you when you try to strike them, is that right? So maybe I was a sad cat. Was I a sad cat? Because I wonder, I wonder about cats.
We quite, still now to this day, I say, it's all positive, got to watch the traffic, otherwise you won't survive. All these little aphorisms of David, which are, they're quotes that Ricky and I still work with Ricky Edwards, who's been a long time associate of mine, and I still work with my manager Peter Hoyland, and we still quote Shine vernacular. So yes, it's made a lifelong impact on me.
I did, because they're always a fuddy daddy. Kiss them all, always kiss cats, always do. If a cat is let me kiss it. If I see a cat in the fence, I'll kiss it. Always, I will, didn't I?
Anyway, that's what we do now, isn't it? Put it away again, I'll bring it out again in another 20 years.